former Minister and former Chair of Education and Health Committee of the House of Representatives, Honorable Bhanubhakta Joshi. His Excellency Rob Fenn, Ambassador of the United Kingdom to Nepal. Dr. Bimala Rai Paudel, former Foreign Minister of Nepal. Thank you, respective dignitaries. And now, I would request all the guests to rise up for the national anthem. I would also like to give a big round of applause to Rajendra Kesi, Honorable Rajendra Kesi sir. I would like to request. Thank you, everyone. In order to arrive at the formal program, I would like to request our chief guest, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, to light the panas. I request our volunteers to help light Honorable Deputy Prime Minister. In Nepali tradition, we kindle a lamp at the start of important occasion to signify the beginning of the event. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister. Now, I would like to request you again to officially inaugurate the University of Nepal with the press of a button. May I kindly request one of our volunteers to assist. असार 18, 2080 सालमा बसेको राष्ट्रिय सभाको बैठकले संशोधन सहित पारित गरेको नेपाल विश्वविद्यालय विधेयकलाई भदौ 24, 2081 मा बसेको प्रतिनिधि सभाको बैठकले संशोधन सहित पारित गरेकोमा राष्ट्रिय सभाको भदौ 30, 2081 मा बसेको बैठकले उक्त संशोधन स्वीकार गरी पुनः पारित गरेको र असोज 23 गते सम्माननीय राष्ट्रपतिज्यूबाट आधिकारिक रूपमा प्रमाणित गरिएको. The University of Nepal was officially authenticated by the Honorable President of Nepal on the October 9th, 2024. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister. Now, let me welcome Dr. Surya Raj Acharya, member of the University of Nepal Development Board, to the stage for his welcome remarks.
इस उद्घोषणा सभा का सभाध्यक्षज्यू, इस कार्यक्रम का प्रमुख अतिथि माननीय उप प्रधानमंत्री तथा अर्थमंत्रीज्यू, प्रतिनिधि सभा शिक्षा स्वास्थ्य तथा सूचना प्रविधि समिति का सभापति माननीय अमरबहादुर थापाज्यू, माननीय श्याम कुमार घिमिरेज्यू, माननीय दिलेन्द्र बडू, माननीय भानुभक्त जोशीज्यू, माननीय राजेन्द्र केसीज्यू, पूर्व मन्त्री माननीय गिरिराजमणि पोखरेलज्यू, बेलायती राजदूत महामहिम रफिनज्यू, गाउँपालिका एसोसिएसनका अध्यक्ष श्री लक्ष्मी पाण्डेज्यू र नेपाल विश्वविद्यालय इन्टरनेसनल एडभाइजरी कमिटीका चेयर प्रोफेसर रबर्ट उल्लानज्यू, नेपाल विश्वविद्यालयको यस ऐतिहासिक घोषणा सभामा उपस्थित यहाँहरू सबैमा म आयोजक नेपाल विश्वविद्यालय पूर्वाधार तयारी विकास समितिका तर्फबाट हार्दिक स्वागत तथा अभिनन्दन व्यक्त गर्न चाहन्छु। गुणस्तरीय उच्च शिक्षाको राष्ट्रिय मानक बन्ने लक्ष्य राख्दै उच्च शिक्षामा नवीन पद्धति र प्रणालीको प्रतिनिधित्व गर्ने नेपाल विश्वविद्यालयको घोषणा हुन पुगेको एक महत्त्वपूर्ण अवसरमा यहाँहरूको गरिमामय उपस्थिति आफैमा यो प्राज्ञिक समुदाय, खास गरी नेपाल विश्वविद्यालयको यो प्रक्रिया 5-6 वर्षदेखि निरन्तर रूपमा अगाडि बढाउने देशभित्र देश बाहिर नागरिक समाज, बौद्धिक मिडिया यो सबै समूहको हाम्रो उत्साह र प्रेरणामा अझ यहाँहरूको गरिमामय उपस्थितिले हौसला बढाएको छ। यसको लागि म नेपाल विश्वविद्यालय विकास समितिको तर्फबाट पुनः यहाँहरूमा धन्यवाद ज्ञापन गर्न पनि चाहन्छु। वास्तवमा नेपाल विश्वविद्यालय स्थापनाको यो लामो प्रक्रियामा समाजका हरेक तबकामा यसको औचित्य, यसको विशेषता, यो किन फरक हो र यसको राष्ट्रिय आवश्यकता के हो भन्नेमा सघन विमर्श भएको छ। खास गरी आज यहाँ उपस्थित हुनुभएका संघीय संसदका मान्य सदस्यज्यूहरू, हामीले यसको सुरुवातीको चरणमा यसमा धेरै आलोचनात्मक कोणबाट पनि बहस आवश्यक थियो, बहस भएको पनि थियो। यत्र विश्वविद्यालय छन्, नयाँ विश्वविद्यालय किन चाहियो, यसको राष्ट्रिय आवश्यकता के हो भन्ने यो सन्दर्भमा हामी नेपाल विश्वविद्यालय विकास समितिको तर्फबाट हुने छलफल विमर्शमा खास गरी यहाँ उपस्थित सबै मान्य सांसदहरूको हामीले सोचेको भन्दा पनि उहाँहरूको हामीलाई फिडब्याक, आलोचनात्मक प्रश्नहरू, यसको औचित्यका बारेमा जुन छलफल भयो त्यसले यो विश्वविद्यालयको मार्गनिर्देश, यो विश्वविद्यालयको विशेषतालाई अझ नेपालको सन्दर्भमा अझ भनौँ भने अघिल्लो कार्यक्रममा हुने जुन नेसन बिल्डिङ, राष्ट्र निर्माण जुन यो विश्वविद्यालयको ऐनको प्रस्तावनामा पनि उल्लेखित छ। गुणस्तरीय शिक्षा मात्र होइन, त्यो गुणस्तरीय शिक्षा हाम्रो स्थानीय परिवेशमा जोडिनु पर्यो, त्यसले समाजका समस्याहरूको समाधान निकाल्न पर्यो। खालि समाजका समस्याहरूलाई पहिचान गर्ने मात्र होइन, प्रतिक्रिया गर्ने मात्र होइन, समाधान पनि निकाल्ने र अहिले खास गरी नेपालको राजनीतिक तहमा, राजनीतिक नेतृत्वमा विकास, समृद्धि र विकासको जुन एउटा छटपटी छ, त्यो छटपटीमा हामी प्राज्ञिक समुदायले पनि हातेमालो गर्ने यो एउटा महत्त्वपूर्ण मञ्च बनेको छ। र यो मञ्च देशभित्रको लागि मात्र होइन, देशभित्र रहेका, देश बाहिर रहेका नेपालको भविष्य छ भन्ने विश्वास गर्ने आम प्राज्ञिक समुदाय, युवाहरू, भर्खरै स्कुलमा पढ्ने विद्यार्थीलाई समेत हामीले यो छलफलमा समावेश गरेका छौँ। अहिलेको नयाँ पुस्ताले कस्तो शिक्षा चाहेको, कस्तो भविष्य चाहेको, नेपालमा आफ्नो भविष्य देखिनको लागि शिक्षाको कस्तो अवसर चाहिएको भन्ने तमाम विषयमा यो हामीले 5-6 वर्षको अवधिमा छलफल गरेका छौँ। र हलमा उपस्थित सबै विशिष्ट महानुभावहरू कुनै न कुनै रूपमा यो विमर्शमा सामेल हुनुभएको छ। र मैले पुनः दोहोऱ्याउन चाहे, खास गरी संघीय संसदका मान्यज्यूहरूले दुवै सदनका समितिहरूमा भएका बहसहरू, खास गरी आलोचनात्मक बहसहरूले हामीलाई एउटा प्रेरणा दिएको छ, यसलाई मार्गदर्शन गर्ने एउटा बाटो पहिलाउन हामीलाई मद्दत गरेको छ। र म विकास समितिको सदस्यको तर्फबाट पुनः के अपेक्षा गर्न चाहन्छु भने हामीले एउटा ठुलो फड्को मारेका छौँ र यसका अवधारणाहरू कार्यान्वयन गर्न साँच्चै राष्ट्र निर्माणमा नेपाल विश्वविद्यालय एउटा महत्त्वपूर्ण भूमिका खेल्ने त्यो सोच, त्यो अवधारणालाई कार्यान्वयन गर्न यहाँहरूको सहयोग, सद्भाव, मार्गनिर्देश हामीलाई निरन्तर रूपमा आवश्यकता पर्नेछ। र अन्तमा म पुनः के संस्मरण गराउन चाहन्छु भने आजका प्रमुख अतिथि माननीय प्रधानमन्त्री तथा अर्थमन्त्रीज्यू यो अभियानमा सुरुदेखि नै हामीलाई सल्लाह दिने, सुझाव दिने र यसको औचित्य छ, राष्ट्रिय औचित्य छ भन्ने प्रेरणाको एउटा स्रोत हुनुहुन्छ र संयोगले आजको प्रमुख आतिथ्य उहाँको भन्दा हामी अझ गौरवान्वित भएका छौँ। र लास्ट बट नट लिस्ट, let me again welcome our foreign guests, especially our International Advisory Board President, Bob Woolward. His partnership, his guidance, and his passion for quality education in Nepal, I would like to acknowledge, and it has given us a very important guidance and inspiration as well. We'd like to acknowledge and we'd like to thank you again on behalf of this Development Committee, and also Your Excellency, UK ambassadors. Your schedule could be very busy, but you managed to come here. We are really grateful, and I have a very special welcome to you, and also all these foreign our friends and collaborators who are present here and not present here, that we have some virtual the speech statement already in the morning session. I'd like to welcome you all and thank you all, and look forward to have a very meaningful collaboration and futures to enhance the higher education ecosystem and the trained manpower that is required for the nation building and every aspect of the society. University of Nepal is very much committed to have a meaningful partnership with our foreign colleagues. So with this, I thank you all and welcome you all. यहाँहरु सबैलाई पुनः स्वागत गर्न चाहन्छु र धन्यवाद. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Acharya, for the warm welcome. Now, I'd like to invite Professor Anand Sharma to the stage to provide a summary of today's symposium.
Thank you. Respected Chair, Honorable Minister of Finance, Foreign Ministers, Honorable Member of the Parliaments and distinguished guests. This morning we started with a welcome address by Dr. Amina Singh. What was interesting about that address was she, in one way, although it was a welcome speech, she set the tone for the whole discussion that followed after that. So some of the issues that she raised and which got, let us say, discussed as in the two sessions that we had, she talked about this, her thoughts on neoliberal thoughts on educational policy and how it has impacted. That is one area. The second area that she talked about was the exodus, how students are leaving this country, and it's not only the physical movement of the student, there is a heavy financial burden also that the nation is suffering because of their movement. The exodus was the second issue that she raised. And she also talked about this, I use her words, the predatory practices of most of the universities, which has reached an epidemic proportion of commodifying student and the educational sector. So that is another area that she talked about. And finally, it is about what is a university for, and what does it mean when you say that I am a human being, and how much can a university contribute to this concept of making someone a human being. So finally, what could be inferred from her welcome note was the tone, the idea that what role can institutions play in the process of nation building. Next we had Dr. Karki. Again, he thanked everyone and he talked about the need for a departure in the higher education landscape of Nepal. So there is which he thinks that University of Nepal will definitely work on. That is one of the issues, major issues that he talked about. And when we moved into the speakers talking about the role of universities in nation building, at first we had Dr. Purnakanta Adhikari, who gave us a historical landscape of how the concept of education and nation building have come up with, how it has been debated in different parts of the world before coming to Nepal. And his, let us say, suggestion was rather than from a top-down approach, he would prefer to go for a bottom-up approach, which he connects with the idea of community participation, which was another issue that was raised by Professor Vice Chancellor Bola Thapa, when in the panel discussion it was asked, how does Kathmandu University connect itself with the community? That was one issue that he raised. And the idea that he talked about the church, the colonial phase, and in Nepal, when he came to Nepal, he says we need for a grassroots movement for educational purpose. But at a certain point in time in Nepalese history, how the grassroots movements, which was gaining momentum, was suddenly suppressed because of some political turmoil. That was one thing. So he talked about empowerment, not domestication. That was one thing. And his very oft repeated, which we talk again and again about, globally competent and locally relevant. That was another issue that he raised. When we moved, and another debate that came up was when he came up with a statement when he said, no graduate should remain unemployed. That was another debated issue when the panel discussion we heard the panel discussion. Professor Joshi, former Vice Chancellor, his interesting take was, do we really need to debate on the idea whether universities are indispensable for nation building? His take at one level, it seems, was the very idea that universities are meant to transform and reform human beings. And those reformed human beings, when they move out into the social structure, definitely the nation is benefited. So at a certain point in his discussion, he thinks that, is it really essential, or is it something that is already embedded within the idea? So one issue which I forgot when Dr. Amina Singh raised was, most of the time what we find is, it is not collective good but individual prosperity. Now this was again a concept that came again and again through different speakers, and one of them was Professor Joshi, that when he talked about collective good versus private private good. So the question was raised in his discussion was, who is the university for and who does it serve? That is another issue. And he came up with a wonderful anecdote about this Persian banker, and I want to quote that when he says, what is rich? Rich in education, expertise, technology, and knowing. And then the banker ends up with a statement saying, we have money, yes, but we are not rich. So we need to be watchful about what really constitutes this concept of richness. That is another thing. Dr. Rajendra Dhoj Joshi, Chancellor of Madan Bhandari University of Science and Technology, raised this political issue, which is again a heavily debated concept, which was again raised again and again in the panel discussion, that how much, to what level politics must be a part of this context. So is it the job of the university to engage in nation building? That was his also. And interestingly, when we look at these speakers, being a scholar of science and technology, he made his point through a series of charts, talking about how different nations, through charts, different nations have achieved this element of inclusiveness. And then he says that it is this inclusiveness that leads to this prosperity. Why is Nepal falling behind? And he had all his observations about that. Then we had our International Advisory Board, Bob Woolard. As usual, his fascinating take is always projected through quotes. And it is through the quotes he makes his point so clear. But when he said that this is an outsider looking into, that was something that I thought should not be a part of his discourse. He's not an outsider, honestly. So, and he used this expression, I'll use some of his quotes because I found pretty interesting. interpret the time in which it lives. That is what a university is. And he moved from, transformed from information to knowledge to wisdom, and to engage our students in, his last expression was engage in wise action. And he used a military term, MIA, missing in action, when he talks about Canadian scenario, when the most vibrant and definitive issues that should be debated in a university, he thinks are missing, like climate change, are missing. Another interesting observation that he made was about this disastrous divorce of competence from conscience, if I am quoting him rightly. To add to this, he used the word good intentions are not enough. Personally also, I think good intentions and good thoughts don't change the world. Because when those good intentions and good thoughts are translated into action, most of the time we find a scenario which is not at all compatible. This reminds me of a brilliant line from Shakespeare's Hamlet, where he says, "Our thoughts are ours, the ends none of our own." When those thoughts are translated into action, and when you look into them, we find it a totally different scenario. One more interesting thing he has suggested was, we are lost in the vastness of the world without stories. So it is essential, his advice is that University of Nepal has to produce its own stories and own narratives. Again, to quote my favorite author, Leslie Marmon Silko, you don't have anything if you don't have stories. So that is one thing which is pretty interesting about Professor Woolard. Finally, I'm spending a little more time on his thought because I found it pretty significant. He talks about the dynamics between dreamers, doers, and critiques. There should be a dynamics, and that dynamics is what produces a vibrant society where knowledge, wisdom gets into action. During the Renaissance time, it was asked, why does Florence have such great artists? The answer was, because they have great critiques. So to support Professor Woolard's thought that dreamers, doers, and critiques must all come together in order to make a nation. We had Professor Anne Bullard. She also talks a great deal about inclusiveness and diversity and all those things, and how this element of global element must be inculcated into the student structure. Let me move, before I end, into the panel discussion, which again raised those similar issues of inclusivity. The Professor Dr. Jagdish Pokhrel talked about certain concepts about state building, about prosperity, about justice, about modern Nepal, when we are talking about modern new Nepal and what kind of values new Nepal should adopt. That was one of the things. And the issues raised was the funding sources, in which former Secretary Rameshwar Khanal talked about 4 different kinds, where you have government funding, student fees, philanthropic, and foreign sources. But one issue again cropped up was the issue of politics. And interestingly, one of the speakers, Dr. Suchita Pokhrel, talked about toxic politics, but she used the word neutrality. And sometimes when such words come up, I find it very difficult to understand, because personally I believe that neutrality is a word only found in a dictionary, not in the real life experiences. But absolutely right. The word politics also has to be understood in a greater expansive mode. Because as a student of literature, we talked about, we have courses on which we talk about the politics of poetics. So let us not narrow down the concept of, we talked about synergy. When it comes to politics, I liked when former Foreign Minister Ms. Paudel talked about Politics is everywhere. I also agree with that fact, but she clearly indicated that we should draw a line. That line is pretty, important. Finally, we ended up with a linguistic jugglery of the word nation building. Oh my God. Whether it has a hyphen in it or not, whether it is a single word, or whether it is a state nation building or state building. But again, we debated on it, but it is definitely a significant concept which has to be addressed by University of Nepal. Let me end my talk with this brochure. It clearly states the future starts here. The future starts now, and the future starts today. Well, no offense to other universities. What is wonderful about our name, I'll say our name, most of the universities are constrained by either individual names or regional locations. This is the only university which encompasses the whole of Nepal. That's the beautiful part of this thing. And so, but when we take up this burden and say the future starts here, the future starts now, and the future starts today, this pledge has to be taken seriously, and this pledge, let me end with that, should always remind us of the last 4 lines of Robert Frost's poem, Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Sharma, for summing up today's symposium with your beautiful words. Now, I would like to turn your attention to some of the well wishes we have received from our international colleagues, one of which is none other than Nancy Galini. I would like to request the IT team to play her greetings.
Namaste. My name is Nancy Galini, and I am the Executive Director of Academics Without Borders. I regret that I am unable to attend this year's symposium on the role of universities in state and capacity building, as well as the 7th consecutive meeting. However, I am grateful for the opportunity to say a few words to this distinguished group. First, I wish to extend my heartfelt congratulations to the University of Nepal Development Board and to all of you who have worked tirelessly and creatively to see the University of Nepal transition from a brilliant idea to an actual entity through the formal signing of an act by the Nepali government only a few weeks ago. I'm sure all of you agree that this is an astonishing achievement. It certainly took a huge amount of tenacity and perseverance to see your dream become official. You must be ecstatic. We, at Academics Without Borders, are honored to have been part of this journey. I am relatively new to AWB and to this project. Over the past several months, I have had the privilege and opportunity to learn about AWB's impactful work and help build upon the incredible foundation laid by Greg Moran, my predecessor, who many of you know. Early on, this project was brought to my attention as one of the bright gems that AWB was involved with.